Hey, everybody, welcome to Cubs Brawl, the Away Games podcast, a Cubs and baseball podcast hosted by two comedians who live in New York but love the Cubs nonetheless, slightly less recently, but we still love them. Uh,
Yes.
I am one of them. I'm Adam Amawala. How you doing? Kevin McCaffrey, the other host.
Kevin McCaffrey, the other host, is me, and I'm doing great and extra good right now because we have a really fun episode for you this week. And it's nice to have a little fun in this Cubs offseason while we're reading rumors about literally everyone we love being moved to save a few dimes for the ownership. It's nice to have some fun stuff. And the fun stuff today is that we have our first returning guest on the show.
Hell yeah, we do. And who is that first returning guest?
His name is Justin Steele. He's a left-handed pitcher, and he was briefly technically on the Cubs major league team last year. He got called up, and he was warming up in the bullpen once, and did
Bit
not
of a
get
moonlight Graham situation for the time being, but
Moonlight Graham right now, but he's but we expect to see him up with the Cubs this year, knock on wood. And yeah, he hung out with us last year before the season started, and he's from Mississippi. He's down there right now working out. He literally came to this interview right after a bullpen, and he's just a fun guy, a good dude. We talk about everything. We talk about South Bend, talk about the major leagues, the new pitch he's working on, his favorite video games. He's a big gamer. You can probably find him on PlayStation if you out there somewhere, and a bunch of other stuff. It's just a good time.
yeah, so we will take you now to our interview with Justin Steele. Enjoy.
Great. This is great. First of all, thanks for coming back. You're our first return guest on this show.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh,
Of
please.
course.
Yeah. Alec Mills was too slow on the reply today, so he's
As slow as his changeup.
yeah, exactly. He's changing up on us a little bit, so that makes sense.
I hear that.
Thanks so much for also like you're coming straight from a bullpen, right?
Yeah, so yeah, I got the times mixed up. It was 5 o'clock here, but I met Ethan Hearn. He's a catching prospect.
Yeah.
Met him up at the gym to get a
Nice.
bullpen in because we couldn't do it earlier because there was too many people there.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I had it planned. I was gonna throw the bullpen, come right back, and then I got done with my bullpen, checked my phone. I saw y'all messaging me. I was like, crap, he meant 6 Eastern time.
Oh, good man. Yeah, and you were working out with him in during quarantine, right? Like in the spring, I think you were working out with him,
Yep.
right?
We worked together. This is our second off season together.
Nice.
Nice.
And you're in Mississippi still right now?
Yeah, we're in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I'm from Lucedale, Mississippi, and
Mhm.
he's from Mobile, Alabama. So Mobile and Lucedale are pretty close together, about 20 minutes apart. And then Hattiesburg's about another hour and 20 minutes north of us. So we both came up here and started doing our training and stuff up here.
Nice. Yeah, and this is I'm glad you're in a much more comfortable spot. I think last time we talked you were dodging tornadoes, I think was
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot all about that. Yeah, we had a tornado come through. We ended up having a bad hurricane season.
God.
Yeah, the weather was crazy this year for us.
Yeah, I mean it's weird that the weather it's weird that in the craziest year overall, like the weather still wasn't chilling out. It's like it's still
It just this past 2 days it just got cold here. It just got into the 30s.
nice.
Yeah.
So you're like how much throwing, like actual throwing are you doing in the off season? What's your program like?
So usually right after the season, let's see, the season ended September, October. I usually take like 3 to 4 weeks off, just kind of, don't do much, just relax, spend time with family, friends,
Mhm.
do the stuff that you can't do during season. And then usually around 4 weeks is when I start my working out and everything. And then usually about a month after working out, so that puts me around December, end of December, somewhere in there. Is usually when I pick a ball up, start playing catch again. And then this was my third bullpen. So I threw one 4 days ago and then 4 days before that.
Nice. So what
You got
other
any, you got anything new you're working on pitch wise?
Well, I added a slider last year and it was a really effective pitch for me. I'd say it's either my second or third best pitch right there with my curveball. Both my breaking pitches, both of them looking good. But adding that slider definitely gives the hitters a different look. I really enjoy throwing it.
I feel like I feel like your slider was very hot in baseball Cubs nerd Twitter over the past few months. I feel like we've been seeing a lot of spin rate talk
Yeah.
about it. Was that something that came pretty quick once you started it? Did you like as soon as you started?
Ever since the Cubs signed me, I've always been able to spin a curveball pretty decently, and
Right.
from there, I've just gotten better and better with it. Manipulating spin, figuring out how to spin it and stuff. I finally got to a point where I felt really good with my curveball, could control it. And, I was just kind of wanting a different pitch to, give the hitters, whether it be lefties or righties, just a different look rather than just dropping it straight down. Let's get something moving more horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Cubs showed me a grip, and I ended up going. They showed me a grip, and I looked at it, and I was like, well, my brother pitched too, and he held it like this, and I was like, let me just rip one of these, and I ripped it, and it was really good. So they're like, all right, we'll roll with that.
Oh man, that's a
yeah, just
magical
kind of
feeling.
yeah, and day by day, it just got better and better, and now it's for sure out pitch, I'd say.
Now you only need 15 more pitches to be the lefty Darvish.
Yeah, I've got a long ways to go for him there.
Right. Once you start naming your own, I guess that's
Yeah, I mean, he gets up there and just grabs the ball a certain way, gives it a name, and it's pitch.
Did you spend any time? Did you get to spend much time with you while you were here? I mean, obviously, I know you were up in spring training, and then I'm sure we'll talk about your time up last year too.
Yeah, I've I mean, just small conversations with him. I mean, obviously there's somewhat of a language barrier there, but he's always nice. Like, you walk into the locker room, he's going to say hello, how are you doing? But he's very nice, especially for somebody that doesn't, English isn't his first language. A lot of them, if I was in another country, I wouldn't be the guy going up to people talking,
Yeah.
saying hello and stuff, especially if I don't know the language.
I do a lot of tip in my hat. I feel like it'd be a lot of
but
gestures.
he's very outgoing, comes up to you, hey, how you doing? So that was really cool.
That's awesome. So now we talked to you in April, and obviously at that time, nobody knew what was going on anywhere in the world, but especially with baseball, it was unclear if there was going to be a season, what it was going to look like. So once that actually began, how did that work in terms of you finding out you'd be in South Bend, and what was that experience like when you were down there for a bit?
So when the original rosters came out for South Bend and the big leagues or whatever, I wasn't on it, and they called me and told me we're planning on getting you out there. It's just with all this COVID stuff, travel, and a bunch of different things were, counteracting it. But they said, we want you to stay ready, keep working out, keep your arm loose and everything. So when I heard that, it was kind of a punch in the gut a little bit. But I was like, obviously, with COVID and everything, anything can happen. Literally, not even 5 to 7 days later, they called me back. It was on my day before my birthday. I flew out there on my birthday.
Nice.
That's nice. That's just their way around having to get you something, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, went up there. Honestly, had a good time in South Bend. We had a good group of guys there. We lived right there by the ballpark. We're playing cards at night. It was a good environment. Especially since we're not able to go out, do different things like any other person could. And we had to be quarantined, getting tested every day. But we had a good camaraderie, watching sports together every night. It was cool.
So you guys were allowed to hang out within that group, basically.
Yeah. We were going to the field every day together, getting tested, practicing together, and then there was apartments right there behind the field that we were all staying in. And we'd get together after practice and stuff, watch some football or basketball, whatever it is.
It's an interesting situation to be in because it's sort of it's like the NBA bubble, which I think we've all read a bunch of stuff about that and how weird of a basketball Disney World, it was at Disney World, but sort of its own little universe like that. It's got to be an interesting mix when it's a bunch of you guys where it's some younger prospects with higher upsides. It's guys like you right on the verge of the major leagues, and then some veterans I know were there too, but also it's so off camera. I think it's interesting that you guys were just in this world very close to Chicago, but no one was really seeing what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, with Chicago, at least the games are broadcasted, and even then, you're getting a little bit of information here and there, whether it be from the players posting something or whatever. But in South Bend, there was no media getting in there. They weren't being televised.
Right.
Yeah, it was kind of secret almost. It was our own little world right there. We had to get DoorDash delivered and everything. But I mean, as far as I know, we all liked it. We had a good environment. We didn't have umpires and stuff, so we would have coaches back there in catching gear, calling strikes and balls.
Oh man,
it was fun. I didn't mind it at all, honestly.
So who's the worst ump among your coaches or best ump? We can go positive too. Either way, were there big differences?
As a pitcher, you want Ron Vallone back there calling balls and
Oh, I
strikes.
bet.
So I mean, he will give you just about any, if it's close, he's giving it to you.
He's giving you the Eric Gregg late '90s situation, the 3 balls off the plate.
And then if there's a hitting coach or a catching coach back there, they're usually a little bit tighter. So it just depends who's
Oh man,
umpiring that day.
I just want to know if anybody got ejected by one of the umpire coaches.
I mean, we'd definitely have some bickering, you know. Like I'd throw one, I'd be borderline. Me and the hitter are both looking at him, waiting for the call. And then, you know, somebody's going to end up being pissed off about it.
Oh, that's very funny. Were you guys like, I mean, what level of stats were they keeping there? Because it's weird that I mean, it's sort of like a full scrimmage league, you know, with you guys. Was it like, did you guys know your numbers or was that not really like a focus?
To me, it wasn't a focus. I mean, I'm sure there was some guys that like, you know, were keeping up with their numbers pretty heavily. I mean, I would keep up with like, if I had an outing and I went 4 innings, I would keep up with like how many walks I had that outing and how many strikeouts, how many hits, you know, the basic stuff, just to kind of have an idea of how I did. But as far as the Cubs keeping stats, I mean, they do film and everything for the games for their own purposes. So I mean, they can go back and like look at what happened and stuff. So as far as that, their stats, but you know, as far as, you know, like online box scores and stuff, no, there was nothing like that. And I kind of enjoyed it. You know, it was just like playing baseball in the backyard almost.
Totally.
Yeah, I feel like even for the guys who were in the bigs all year, it's like it felt like Little League again, where you're just playing baseball in on an empty field, a very large empty field. But yeah, I imagine it was, other than Steven Souza throwing the ball to the rooftops, I feel like there was not a lot, it wasn't a lot of fan interaction.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I'm trying to remember if I don't think I was in Chicago for when he did that. I think I just the rosters had just gotten cut right after he did that.
So yeah, go ahead, Kev.
I was going to say, so tell us about the situation when you got called up to Chicago, how you heard and what all went down with that.
So it was probably 11:30 at night. I should probably remember the day, but I'm drawing a blank on what day it was. But
it's like early August from.
Yeah, it was early August, and I was just playing video games with Tyson Miller. He was my roommate. Me and him was playing video games, and I get a call, so like have to stop playing, pause the game, start talking. And like Tyson's kind of listening in, and he's like, kind of, getting ready to celebrate. And I mean, that was about as close as I could get to crying without crying. I mean, if Tyson wouldn't have been there, I probably would have cried.
Sure, yeah. You got to cater to your audience a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but man, it was special. And then literally, when I came down, when the rosters got cut and I came down, that's when Tyson went up. So I was there for him for when he got his phone call to go up. Cool. So it ended up being really cool, being roommates, and we were both there for each other when we got called up. So that was really cool. But the whole big league experience was amazing. I mean, obviously I didn't get to pitch or whatever. I got to warm up one time. Got hot, and my heart was pounding through my chest. I was so excited. It didn't happen, but it might be a blessing in disguise. Maybe my family and friends can come to my actual debut this time.
Yeah,
that's true. When you were warming up, was that at a game at Wrigley or was that on the road?
It was at Kansas City, I think.
Yeah, it was at Wrigley versus Kansas City.
Okay.
Before we went to Kansas City.
Okay. Yeah, it's sneaky now with it's been a few years now that Wrigley's had the bullpen underneath the bleachers, but it's different because it's like it's now a little more secret to the fans than it used to be as to who's getting up. Where obviously, yeah, I think a lot of people, whenever you see someone get called up, it's like you're excited to see the new guy. So yeah, I mean, so you were up how long? For
it was 4 days for the first time. 4 days, and then I went back up for like the 2 playoff games or whatever, and was
right.
I don't forget what the actual roster name was called, but I was up there.
Who called you to give you the news when you first got called up?
Matt Dory. He's had a few titles since I've been with the Cubs, but
cool.
he's a higher up with the Cubs. I know.
Every front office title boggles me. I have no idea what's going
And they're
on.
always changing. Like I can't keep up with it. Like I'll see one of them in spring training and they're doing something different, but
Yeah.
it's whatever.
It's a lot of it's some real like office Michael Scott assistant to the
Yeah.
regional manager stuff. It's a lot
Yeah.
of the word assistant or a vice something development is in there.
Assistant to the regional manager.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well,
Exactly.
I don't know how much you keep up with like reading stuff about yourself or if you try to stay away from it, but I don't know if you saw David Ross's quote when you got called up, but I saw it and I was interested to know your reaction to it. So Ross, when you got called up, Ross said he made an impression on me in spring training just with the swings the hitters took off him. When he's in the zone, the ball seems to jump out of his hand. Hitters don't seem to pick it up too much. And then the other thing he said was his name kept popping up of a guy that's trending in the right direction, is competing his tail off in that environment, and we try to reward guys for that around here. So, like, I don't know if you heard that at the time, but that's got to make you feel pretty good to hear Ross saying that about you, right?
Yeah. I mean, all the coaches in South Bend and stuff, without them, they gave me a lot of help, coming from, I wasn't even sure if I was going to go to South Bend. And then I went out there and, not getting called on the original day, probably put a little chip on my shoulder, like all right, I'm finally here. I need to show that I deserve to be here. It ended up paying off, but yeah, them coaches in South Bend, man, they really helped me out a lot. They're the ones sending the words to Chicago. So a lot of thanks to them for that.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. You were talking about, because I was going to ask you, like, is there a silver lining in that? Even though you didn't get to pitch, then hopefully, if you get to pitch this coming season, your family and friends will be there, or at least like
Like people,
limited crowd, that sort of thing.
Yeah, everybody kept asking me if I was like upset about it, and I mean, obviously it would have been really cool to actually get on the mound and throw an MLB pitch, but I know it's going to happen. And I would love for my parents, my mom, my dad, my brother, my nephew, friends, just everybody.
Yeah.
I would like everybody to be there for that moment, especially all the ones that were there the entire time.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah,
Well,
it's a weird thing. I was trying to think about it in terms of like our lives. It's like we're both stand-up comics, which is kind of retired right now. It's like we've
I actually keep up with comedy a good bit. I follow Joe Rogan, Diaz. Who's some?
Oh yeah, Tom Segura's in that crew. He's a friend.
Yeah,
of
Tom
mine.
Segura.
Yeah.
What's the UFC fighter that does it too? Or he was
Brendan? Was it Brendan?
Yeah, Brendan. I listen to him. Theo Vaughn. I listen to all them guys.
Oh, nice. That's great. Yeah, and I was trying to think about for us, because it's like our version of getting called up to the majors is like you get like booked on a late night show or something, or you get a Comedy Central spot. And that was, and I feel like you experienced something where it's like we're like when you get the call, that's getting your varsity letter. I feel like, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's like, okay, they've said you're at this level, you got booked, that's the thing. And then I feel like you had the interesting thing where like when I did Letterman, it's like if Letterman got canceled because there was some big news event, that's what it would have felt like, where it's like, I did it, I did all the stuff, just like you didn't, just let me do the fun part now.
Yeah. Yeah, I get exactly what you're saying. Yeah. Especially when, let's see, I warmed up that one game. I was just shaking. I was just so excited. It was a cool feeling. I was ready to get out there. And then I forget who was pitching, was going to come in relief for, but they ended up getting out of the inning. And then we ended up going to Kansas City. Didn't really have a chance to get in any of those games. And then the day the rosters got cut, I think we ended up losing by like 10 runs or like it was like the perfect situation.
Yes.
I could have got out there and eat like 4 innings.
Yeah, I know.
Perfect.
And I remember thinking that too, where it's like, there's no downside here. There's no, whatever. Ross is fine. We like Ross.
I'm sure
it's
not a big deal at all. I mean, I was just happy to be up there.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: how much better was the food?
Oh man. I mean, in South Bend, I was door dashing, and they would have some snacks and stuff at the field. But I mean, you can't. Even with the COVID, like the food in the big leagues was really good. They always had it, like just hot and ready, fresh. Just all the drinks you wanted. Oh, I drank so many Arizona iced teas. It was,
I was expecting like filet mignon. You're like, no, just Arizona iced teas, man. Just pounding them.
Oh yeah, I was drinking a lot of iced teas, a lot of chocolate milk. They had some really good chips. They had the like baked kettle chips, salt and
Oh,
vinegar. I was tearing them things up too.
yeah,
You're not getting that in the minors. Only Pringles down there.
yeah,
Yeah, the
Pringles is I feel,
kettle cooked chips are big leagues, you know.
absolutely. There's a longer fermentation process or something.
Yeah, you know.
What of the big league experience? What else really struck you when you're up there? Were they putting you up in a hotel, or did you have an apartment, or?
So when we were in Wrigley, I was staying at the Zachary Hotel, which is like right across the street.
Nice.
Great commute.
Yeah, Kansas City was just like a downtown hotel. It was nice as well. I would say the coolest thing is the ballparks, like just being out there. I mean, even if nobody was in the stands, just like being like soaking it all in. Like we had a day game in Kansas City, and I like just went out and sat in the dugout for like 30 minutes before the game, just to, you never know when you'll be able to do that again. So
Absolutely.
There's a great picture on your Instagram of you just like smiling like a little kid, like on the
yeah. I
way
mean,
to
I
Wrigley.
was.
That's
I'm
awesome.
telling you, I was like a little kid out there. It was so much fun. It was a dream come true.
That's great. Are you preparing specifically for either competing for a starting role this year, or are you focusing more on bullpen right now? Or you kind of don't know?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if they know. I haven't heard anything really. I'm just getting on the mound, getting my bullpens in, keeping my arm ready.
Right.
I'll do whatever I'm told, and especially if it's competing at the big league level.
Yeah. And I think because I think, just in Cubs media and stuff, like we've read certainly a lot about you as a potential bullpen weapon,
Mm-hmm.
but your whole career to this point has been starters innings pretty much, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the way through high school, even little league, and then through all the way in pro ball until last year, I've always been a starting pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some injuries early on in my professional career and stuff. So definitely, relievers aren't going to throw as many innings, not as likely to get hurt. So it definitely makes sense. But to me, I can do whatever they tell me to do in my mind until I'm told otherwise.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll do whatever. I'll be a starter. I'll be a middle relief closer.
You'll DH if you need.
Yeah. I mean, I hit with Ethan all the time. I just want to play.
Well, I was going to ask you. So last time we talked to you, you were giving us some of your hitting stats, and you told us at that time that your top exit velo was 102 off the bat.
Oh, that's right. We have some
and your top
ratings,
your top distance was 430. So I want to know if you've topped those numbers.
I haven't hit one over 430, but I've hit 104 off the bat now.
Ooh.
There we go.
I haven't got one over 430 yet. I must have had that one on like the right trajectory and everything.
Yeah, the right spin. Yeah,
it must have been hit just right.
When you were down in South Bend, was there any player who you found yourself just as like a fan being excited to watch? Is there anyone who you think we should be on the lookout for to be really excited to see?
I'm gonna say Albert Alzolay every time, man. I've literally played with him. We were in 2014, we're in rookie ball together, and then we kind of just saw each other grow, played together, all kinds of stuff. And he's from Venezuela, and I'm from South Mississippi. It's just really cool how close me and him are, being so far apart.
And that's a long time.
Yeah, it's me and him are really good friends. We always keep in touch. I think he's going to do some really big things this year. Man works harder than anybody I know, and I like to think I work hard myself, but he works 10 times harder than me. It's incredible.
That's great.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's great to hear.
I know you're a big gamer. I got to ask if you got a PS5.
Oh, we got an unboxing. We got a reveal.
For anybody who's only listening to this, yes, he did.
Yeah, this will be on YouTube too.
It's right there waiting on me.
Now, was that hard to track down, or were you able to get one pretty quick?
So, I mean, I didn't get it quickly. I did get lucky though. My Cavante Mitchell, he used to play with the Cubs.
Outfielder, right? Yeah.
Yep. His best friend ordered one. He got one early, but his girlfriend ended up getting him one also for Christmas. So he ended up having two. And I was talking to both of them through a group chat about PlayStation or something, and he just told me that he had this PlayStation. It came with the PlayStation, Spider-Man, NBA 2K, and two controllers, and it was like just over $700, and it came with two games. The console itself is like $500, and then it came with two games, two controllers, and all that stuff.
He didn't gouge you on the price too much.
No, he gave me what he paid for it, since he already
straight
had
retail.
Yeah.
That's good. Have you gotten any other games since then? Sorry.
Do what?
I was asking if you got any other games since then.
Oh yeah, so all the PS4 games, you just sign into your PlayStation Network account on the PS5, and you can just download every game you had on your PS4 and
That,
just tear out from there.
that's great. Yeah, that's good. I feel like I was holding off for a little. I've been trying to make myself, this is like a real poor attempt at being an adult as a 30 something, but I'm like, I'm going to try to finish the games I have before I get new games, which I never end up doing. But that's the reasoning I've given myself to not have the PS5 yet. But I mean, if it is backward compatible like that. So it's like,
Oh yeah, and they have it's like the PlayStation home game that they have. It's on every PlayStation. It's like PlayStation's version of like Mario, Donkey Kong, and it's so cool. Like my little nephew could play it, and like he would play it all day if I'd let him.
oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
What's the game you're on right now? What's number one focus?
Been playing a lot of NBA 2K.
Okay.
I've been to one hockey game or two my entire life. Never watched it on TV or anything, but NHL hockey is like the funnest game to play. It's so much fun.
That's how I was with FIFA too, where it's like I wasn't really into
I like
soccer.
playing FIFA as well, but I don't really watch soccer.
Yeah, but just like I don't know what it is, but like goal-based games are good and they're fun. And hockey also you get to hit dudes, which is fun too.
Oh yeah, that you make a big defensive man, like make him like 6'6" and just waylay people.
Oh yeah, creating dudes just absolute WWE monsters. You got Brock Lesnar at your defense. It's wonderful.
Just some DBs or defensive linemen in the NFL.
Are you a football fan? A college football?
Oh yeah, diehard Saints fan and Alabama fan.
Well, congratulations. That's
Thank
you can see a large bear behind me that is it should not be growling as much as it is because that was more of a whimper this Sunday.
Man, that one drop pass y'all had, it really hurt. Y'all didn't need that.
And that was the same guy who punched somebody in the helmet earlier this year.
Yep.
Also against the Saints.
He punched him and then he also missed it.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember watching that. I was like, did he just punch him in the face? Like, what just happened there?
With the helmet
what's
on?
The thought process
Yeah,
when
like,
you're
what are
punching
you doing?
someone in the helmet?
That's gonna hurt. That hurts you more than anything.
Oh man, yeah.
How do you like the chances for Breeze against in the old man matchup of Breeze and Brady?
I mean, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in one season,
right.
Especially when it's Tom Brady. The fact that we did beat them, we've already showed that we can beat them twice. So that's kind of reassuring. But like I said, it's hard to beat somebody 3 times. I mean, I feel like we should win, but like I said, it's Tom Brady. Like, I'm not. If the GOAT ends up taking us out, we've lost to the Minnesota Miracle. We've had some wide receivers get murdered and the pass interference not get called.
You changed the rules of the game. I mean,
you know what? Being knocked out by the GOAT, we've had worse done to us in the past few years.
That's a good positive.
Yeah.
Adam, do you want to lightning round
so
it?
before we let you go, I had some some lightning round questions I was going to ask you about your COVID experience, because it seems actually disturbing, but we're like coming up on a year that we've all pretty much been in some form of lockdown, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to ask you a couple questions. So first of all, what is the best thing you've watched during COVID? Like streamed something? What kind of shows you've been into?
The Boys on Amazon Prime. It's awesome. It's about superheroes and how they're kind of the world government going on, and then the boys is people who are kind of hunting them down because they're kind of corrupt and stuff. Dude, it's really good show. Highly recommend it.
Nice.
I've heard that's great. I've not seen. Yeah.
I love it.
This is a 2-part question. One is tame and one is less tame. If you're a coffee drinker, what's been your go-to coffee drink? And if you're a drinker of booze, what's your go-to drink?
Okay, I drink coffee every day. If it's cold outside, just black coffee, hot, and then if it's warm outside, a ice cold brew, black. If I'm watching football with the boys, I'm probably gonna be drinking some either Michelob Ultras or High Noons.
Yeah, got to keep the bod tight. Michelob Ultras, got to drink for health.
I like to look good out there.
Yeah.
And then if I'm having a classy drink, I'll go Crown Vanilla and Coke. That's kind of my sipping drink. I like Crown Vanilla Coke. Tastes like a vanilla Coke. It's nice and easy.
Oh, that's
We'll
perfect.
we'll try to get Ian Happ to send you some Parse rum.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Adam, what's your go-to drink? What's your go-to liquor?
You know,
You're less
quarantine's
of a
been
liquor
so
guy.
hard.
Yeah.
You know what? I used to be a real clear liquor guy. I'd go like vodka soda, like a lady. But I've been getting into little bourbon of late.
All right.
So
Okay. Is
trying
there
to,
a particular brand?
just like Bullet, like middle of the road, sort of like, good but not super. I don't think I appreciate it enough to be spending $100 on a bottle, nor do I. Nor does an unemployed comedian have that.
One of my teammates, Scott Efros, he loves Angel's Envy bourbon.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I think it's a bourbon. It's a bourbon or a whiskey. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
I think it is a bourbon. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I know.
he loves it. He loves
I know
it.
that one. That's a good fancy bottle. I like Woodford.
Yep, he likes that one too. He likes
Woodford's
Woodford.
really good. I'm sort of like Adam. I'm a fairly hard drinker, but not like Adam.
With
but,
a name like McCaffrey?
Yeah, Kevin McCaffrey. What you don't say. And I like potatoes. What are the odds? But I think I can taste up to about $40 as a palate. So like up to about Maker's Mark. And then I don't know what's happening. But I was briefly a Bushmills whiskey model. I was in one ad, so I show respect to Bushmills because they gave me money once too. So
You'll have to send me that ad. I'd love to see that.
Oh, absolutely, dude. It was like 10 years ago. It was me, it was a comedian friend of mine. It was like a couple other great comics in the ad, a guy named Dan St. Germain and a guy named Sean Donnelly and Colin Dempsey. And Dan's manager found out about the call for this ad, and he was like, they want people who are real friends, so I don't think we have to be good looking for this. And so we're like, all right, fine, we go. And everyone there looked like Johnny Depp or Andre 3000. And we're like, we're the biggest pieces of shit. We are just disgusting. And then, but I think that's what they wanted, because then we got a callback. And then at the callback, that's where they took the photos of like 8 groups, and then they picked 2 of them. But they were giving us free whiskey at the callback. So I'm drunk in the photo. And so Sean, because we're like, we're not getting this. Let's load up. And then they sent us to Ireland, like to get it was crazy. But yeah, I'll send you the ad.
And weirdly,
that's exactly what they wanted. They wanted to get you a little lubed up.
And oh boy, did they! And I mean, if they're trying to sell whiskey, they found bodies by whiskey. Like they picked the right group for sure.
And weirdly, I was in a whiskey commercial with my dad. I don't know if you've seen
that's
that,
right.
Kevin. I was in for Lefroy, which is a pretty good whiskey. I think it's pretty expensive.
But it was these gigs.
Yeah, yeah. I'll throw you a wreck next time.
We'll send along your Cubs headshot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Next question, because you were talking about DoorDash. What's been your like go-to cheat meal during quarantine?
Cheat meal.
What's something you would be embarrassed to tell us that you eat?
I'm not embarrassed to eat anything.
No guilty pleasures, only pleasures.
Yeah, I mean, I'll eat anything. I mean, I love seafood, like oysters. I'll eat oysters anyway. Some redfish, red snapper. Like I love fried catfish.
Nice.
Just all this good Southern cooking.
Yeah, seafood. I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's what I'm all about. That. If I have like a cheat meal, I'll get like a hamburger from like Five Guys with some Cajun fries or something. I would say that's probably like a cheat meal. Most of the time,
Five Guys they give you way too many fries every time. It's
like
a full
you get the
bag.
small. You get the small, and you're getting a bag full. It's awesome.
That's like if you go to Dunkin' Donuts at like 1 a.m. On a 24-hour one, and you order a donut, they have to get rid of so many after a certain hour. So just order one, and they'll give you like a bag of just an assortment of trash. They're like donuts.
Wow,
that's
smart.
Yeah, that's how I've used my intelligence in my life. is in that way. That's what I used to do in college all the time.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh man, I got a couple more for you. You talking about being a sports fan. What is if you could go to any sporting event right now, if COVID were over and you could be in a packed stadium, what would be the number one sporting event you would want to go to?
That's so hard.
I mean, you can name a couple.
Yeah, so I went to the last UFC fight that fans were allowed to. Adesanya versus Romero in Vegas. And that was like one of the coolest sporting events I've ever been to. That was the first time I've ever been to a fight. And like, I definitely want to go to another one of them. been to a bunch of Saints games, Alabama game, like one of those three, a Saints or an Alabama game, and then a UFC fight, because those three sporting events, Saints versus Cowboys specifically, when we beat them 12-9 last season, that game was awesome. And then my dad just growing up took us to all that bunch of Alabama games, so all of them were always fun.
Those
so,
are all awesome. Yeah, those are particularly good atmospheres too, like the New Orleans vibe, Alabama vibe.
Mm-hmm. Tuscaloosa is unbelievable, especially the Superdome. If it's a division game or something in the Superdome, it's so loud. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's been so weird, especially watching a game in Seattle where it would usually be so damn loud.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just, I don't know if the Rams win if they're playing in a real Seattle environment,
Man, the Rams have been tricky this year. They haven't been they don't until now. They've been sticking with Cam Akers, but they kind of had a stable of running backs. You didn't really know who was getting the ball. They got Cooper Kupp, Jared Goff. There's some games he just doesn't have.
It's he's a weird number 1 overall pick. It's because it's not as bad, but he doesn't. Some games he looks like a game manager. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. He's not flashy. He's not doing no-look Mahomes passes, or even Josh Allen this year. He was doing some incredible things. Yeah. He would be back foot and just flick it 50 yards on the line. It was watching Josh Allen this year was so much fun.
He's insane. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm all in on a Bills-Browns AFC Championship.
No, me too. One of my good friends is a Browns fan, and I was watching it with him this past weekend. We were getting fired up. Great.
Imagine if they blew that game. I feel like the city of Cleveland would have burned to the ground.
Oh man, I couldn't even imagine if the heartbreak in Cleveland if they would have blew that.
Oh, yeah,
it got close for a little
bit. Especially the way it happened, just turnover, touchdown.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wow. After going up so big and people were just tweeting, people were spiking the ball on Twitter in the first quarter in that game, and rightfully so. But geez, yeah. Obviously, as Cubs fans, we used to be exposed to more of that kind of feeling than we have been lately, at least. So,
yeah. As a Saints fan, that was our first Super Bowl back in 2009. So, we a little same experience. I didn't go my whole life without seeing a championship, like some people.
Sure, right.
But it's always fun to get a championship when you haven't had one in a while.
Totally.
For sure. All right, last question, though. We'll let you go because we're running out of time because we're too cheap to pay for the expensive Zoom.
I have the Pro Zoom now, not to brag. I should have set this up.
Oh, damn. Yeah. Well, that's all right. First place that you want to travel to when you can travel anywhere?
Something I've been wanting to do for a really long time is I want to take a cruise of the Mediterranean Sea.
Nice.
And stop. There's one that'll stop in Greece, Italy, the Vatican City. It's 5 different Venice, 5 really cool spots that it stops at each day. That's something I really, really want to do. Just because, other than Dominican Republic and Canada, I've never been outside the United States much, especially not for baseball. Right. So I'd love to go over there and just spend 10 days on a boat and cruise and just get off and see, pretty much where we came from. That was back in the day, see the Coliseum and stuff. That would just be really cool.
Totally. Go warm up in the Coliseum bullpen.
Yeah.
I've only ever been to the Oakland Coliseum, and it's a lot less impressive.
The shape is similar, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a little similar.
Yeah. Great. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Justin. Appreciate you being our first, like we said, 2-time guest.
Man, the pleasure was mine. Thanks for having me. And sorry again, I was a little late.
Oh, you're good.
Screwing up the times.
Get that bullpen in. That's what we want. Do you want to plug anything for people to check out? Your socials, anything like that?
Socials are Justin Steele 21 on Instagram, and then J_Steele 21 on Twitter. Had to get the Instagram name changed.
Too bad.
Yeah, it was getting to a point where I'm 25 now. I did that back in high school.
Mr.
Some
Steele.
people, and the new generation might not even know that song. Like what I'm
Right.
saying. Like there's a bunch of songs that people forget about. So some people might just look at it as like, damn, he's like trying to steal my girl or something. And that's just not how I'm trying to come across as a baseball
No,
player.
let nobody talk that trash online.
That's a pro. That's a pro move. That's a pro move.
Yeah, I need to clean it up a little bit, be a little more professional.
That's great.
We look forward to seeing you in the bigs next year. It's going to happen for sure. This year.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course.
All right. Thanks, Justin.
Y'all take it easy.
All right, later.